Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Monday, July 13th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Ball State game in 54 days, the game against Michigan in 138 days. We're presented today by our friends at Jeff Ruby's Columbus, proudly offering nationally acclaimed USDA prime steaks, seafood and sushi, impeccable service, live entertainment, and an attention to detail that is simply unmatched. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. On today's show, I'm joined by Tony Gerdeman of BuckeyeInsiders.com. He has some predictions for you. Are they bold predictions? Friends, they never are. That's okay. He's not even pretending this time. They're just regular predictions. And Tony, I want to go through these with you because there's some interesting ones, and I think these are ones that I think Ohio State fans are going to enjoy all of these, especially if they all come true. Number one, this was one that I looked at and I was like, is that right? And yes, it is right. Ohio State has not beaten Oregon in the regular season since 1987. That is before Oregon football was anything remotely like what Oregon football is now. But you think they are going to do it this year for the first time since 1987.
First time, thank you for having me. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. It is so appreciated. I cannot tell you how appreciative I am of that. So thank you. Yeah, 1987 was the last time that Ohio State beat Oregon in the regular season. We know 2021 they lost in Columbus. 2024 they lost in Eugene. The funny thing is they've played like quite a few times in the 60s and the 80s, and Ohio State won all of those matchups. It was not until that 2021 game where Ohio State could not stop Oregon that the Ducks actually got a win over the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes own a 10-2 mark on the Ducks. But I do think it's going to happen this year, November 7th in Ohio Stadium. I think Oregon is, if everybody is winning games, this may be a 1 versus 2, and I'm not sure Ohio State would be 1 in that scenario. Maybe even if Ohio State loses to Texas, they could be 2 by the time this game comes around. So I do expect a top 5 matchup that day. I also think that somehow, some way, the Buckeyes are going to finally win at home. Nearly 40 years in the making. That's probably what the shirts will say. Nearly 40 years in the making. I think that's pretty, you put that on a marquee, something like that. Yes, I think Ohio State beats Oregon this year, finally.
Yes, other than the relatively minor games, such as the Rose Bowl, the other Rose Bowl, the national championship game, yes, they will finally get it done on the big stage of the regular season. The secret bonus question here, Tony, is that the only time Ohio State and Oregon play this year?
That's a good question, and I don't think so. I think there will be multiple matchups, and when I say multiple, that is more than 1. Will it be 3? I don't know. I'll just start at 2 right now and go from there.
Yeah, between the Big Ten championship game being a possibility, and you figure these are 2 of the top 5-ish teams in the country, so you got a decent chance of them playing in the quarterfinals, the semifinals, maybe even the national championship game. We have seen that happen before, and it is certainly a possibility this year. So, all right, next one. You say that Legend Bey, Ohio State freshman running back extraordinaire, will have a 70-yard rush.
Yeah, and as I'm thinking that through right now, that his number of opportunities to have a 70-yard rush are probably going to be very few. So he's probably going to have to hit a 70-yarder on like 10% of his attempts in terms of having the ball that far backed up. But I should have just said 70-yard play, Tom. But when I sent those to you, I mistakenly put rush now that I'm thinking about it and as I'm considering the possibilities. But he is going to be a big play guy, I do believe. And they are going to put him in situations to make plays. Generally, that's not a rush, though. That's some sort of an other thing, but maybe an end around, something like that. But the way people talk about him and his speed, his agility, all of that stuff lends me to believe that there will be some big plays. Now, 70 yards, Tom, that is a bold prediction. Ohio State's last 70-yard rush, it came in.
They had 2 in 2024.
And actually both Quinshon Judkins had both of those. So I think the opportunities are going to be few and far between, which this would probably be at least a 2-pointer, Tom. And actually, if it's a game week type of thing, this is a 3-pointer, I think, to say 70-yard rush. but I'm going to stick to it because I wrote it down. And now that we're recording, I can't say I'm lying.
Can't weasel your way out of this one. Yeah, they had 0 70-yard rushes last year, 2 in 2024, 1 in 2023, 2 in 2022, 1 in 2021. So it is 6 over the last 5 years, 5 over the last 4 years. So you figure this is about a once-a-year thing, give or take. So to predict any individual player to do it, that would actually constitute boldness. To predict any one individual player to do this in a specific game, that would probably be a 3-pointer. I cannot wait to take that in week 1 and take that away from you and watch you get extremely, extremely mad. Finally, something to look forward to with college football season right around the corner. Something else to be looking forward to with college football season right around the corner. Kenyatta Jackson's senior season, and he is seemingly poised to take on a bigger role, even bigger than last year, probably as Ohio State's leading edge player. And you think that might look like 10 plus sacks?
And that's something that Caden Curry did last year with 11 sacks. It's something that JT Tuimoloau did with 12 and a half in 2024. But then you got to go back to Chase Young and the Bosa's before that's happened since it's happened. So this is another, I think this is pretty bold. And do I believe it? I think the opportunities are going to be there. I keep saying he's going to be a top 10 pick. So I guess I've got to push all of my chips in at this point on him. Last year, 6.5 sacks. And most of those came after he was like, hey, is it okay if I rush the quarterback? Can we do some of that do more of that? So I think with a more aggressive approach this year, he will have more sacks and more games, perhaps, rather than the 14 they played last year. Can they get a couple more? So on one hand, 10 plus sacks, 10 sacks is a lot. On the other hand, it's like, well, I mean, if you play 15 games and you're supposed to be an all Big Ten, perhaps like an all-American type, if you don't get to that number, have you underachieved? And I think 10 sacks, maybe 10 and a half, somewhere around in there. But yes, I'm going to push my chips in on Kenyatta Jackson. And I'm not going to slow down when it comes to what he could do this year, other than saying, yeah, we'll just start at 10 right now.
Yeah, and I don't think anything less than 10 would be underachieving for him, but I think 10 is a realistic number, especially as you said, we don't know exactly how many games they could play. It could be up to 17 this year, but you figure they're going to be 14, 15, maybe 16. You have a lot of opportunities, and these are teams where you're going to be playing some really high stakes games. You're going to be playing games that are going to be relatively close, which means you're probably playing 4 quarters in more games than you did last year. So there are certainly going to be opportunities, and he's not someone who I think they're going to be taken off the field very often in those big games. So he is certainly going to have the snaps to potentially do that. Last one, and this is really, you are calling your shot here. Devin Sanchez, Ohio State corner, will intercept Bryce Underwood, Michigan quarterback.
And this assumes 2 things. One, it assumes that Devin Sanchez will have an interception in the game. And 2, that Bryce Underwood will be playing in the game. And well, actually, this assumes 3 things. It also assumes that Michigan will not back out of the game. So 1, 2, that's a 3-pointer, Tom, at the very least. And we know Bryce Underwood threw 9 interceptions last year and 335 attempts. I expect him to be better this year in terms of being a quarterback, but also the more confident that a quarterback gets, sometimes the interceptions go up because they know better. And that's with all, I think, well, not all. That's with a lot of second-year starters where you're more comfortable, you're a little less cautious, you're more confident, and you try to fit some footballs into some windows that you wouldn't have done the year before. And so that's one way of looking at this. Another way of looking at this is seeing what appeared to be a lack of development in the spring. And we always talk about you can't put too much on the spring game. And trying not to, but when the quarterback looks the same in the spring that they did in November, and when the quarterback in November looks the same that they did in September, at what point does the cocoon start and the metamorphosis take over? So that's a lot of words to say yes, Tom. I think Devin Sanchez is going to intercept Bryce Underwood this year. And that doesn't – I did not specify when, That could be the regular season. That could be the Big Ten championship game. That could be the postseason.
Oh, man. Every once in a while, we'll have that. Ohio State and Michigan could theoretically meet at the Big Ten championship game or the college football playoff. And it's like, oh, man, what a spectacle that would be if either one of those happened. It's going to be interesting to see among the many things that are, potentially different with Bryce Underwood this year. He has a quarterback's coach, which is certainly going to help. He's playing an adjacent back offense where that can be a quarterback run heavy / dependent offense at times. And what does that do for him? Does that open things up, or does that mean he's more banged up when you get to the latter portions of the regular season? Those are a lot of different variables you got to kind of price in here. But Michigan has some decent wide receivers. Andrew Marsh coming back for a second year. They just added Jamie French in the transfer portal from Texas. They've got some talent at receiver. So you're going to have some opportunities. He is going to be putting the ball in the air. We know that. So yes, and I think your point is very well taken. You can be a better quarterback, a more experienced quarterback, and throw more interceptions just because you're not being your first year. Everyone just kind of says, just don't lose the game. Don't blow this. Don't. And the second year you're kind of taking the restrictor plate off a little bit, which can lead to more interceptions, but also a better season on the whole. So there you go. 4 predictions from Tony Gerdeman to expect, things to look forward to with the Ohio State football season this year. Something you can look forward to is joining BuckeyeInsiders.com. That site is live right now. We have a very active message board already. A lot of fun folks. A lot of folks we were very, very excited to see join us right away. That site we are just getting ramped up right now, but here's a little surprising thing that I just realized. Big Ten Media Days, about 2 weeks away right now. The season actually right around the corner. I was emotionally a little shaken by that. Like, oh boy, we're getting into season mode very, very quickly. It would be great for you to get in that mode with us at BuckeyeInsiders.com. You see us on YouTube, you listen to the podcast. That is the best way to get a chance to spend a lot more time with us and support what we do. So you can sign up today at BuckeyeInsiders.com. And thanks again to our friends at Jeff Ruby's Columbus, the award-winning upscale steakhouse in downtown Columbus, named one of the top 50 steakhouses in America by Food Network. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. That will do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.